Hello and good morning. It's Phil Thatcher and I'm here at this completely awesome old railroad bridge, low clearance, 9 foot 4 inches, and I've come here today to work on my own photo challenge. Usually I talk to you about working on David's photo challenge, but this week my photo challenge for me and Heather's live stream is black and white photography. So I brought the X-T3, which is making this video now, and I'm using the Acros film simulation, which is the black and white film simulation. And I made a quick photograph from a similar composition to the video camera sitting at now, with this road curving in this way and curving out that way in black and white. I think it looks pretty good. All right, well, here is the first photograph of the day, this beautiful old tunnel under the railroad tracks. I love the way the road curves to the right going into the tunnel and curves to the left going out. It really adds some nice lines to the composition. And the Acros film simulation is really beautiful. These are all JPEGs. All of these black and white photographs are JPEGs, but they're not straight out of camera. I did edit them just a little bit to just tweak them just a little bit. I saved the raw files too, but they were in color, and I wanted to use the Acros film simulation. So that's how I got all of the photographs in this video. So this is Collegedale, Tennessee, which has kind of a lot of parts of Collegedale, Tennessee are really beautiful, and a lot of parts are kind of more like this. And so I found a place to park, and I'm kind of walking around in Collegedale and making black and white pictures, and I'll continue to share them with you as I go along. Also, Big Mike was here. I thought this old dilapidated building had a lot of character, and I like this angle that I've shot it at with the leading lines of the road and the building, and then in the background the mountain with the it was almost foggy that morning. If it had been a little more foggy, I would have gone and found some woodlands to photograph, but instead I stayed in Collegedale. Here's another old building in Collegedale. This is kind of on the main road. As a matter of fact, I think this road is called Main Street. I like everything about this shot, except I'm just not happy with the location of that telephone pole right there at the corner of the building. But it is such a pole that I couldn't remove it. I walked around Collegedale for a little bit, and I kind of wasn't too thrilled with what I was getting, so I walked back to the car. I came back here to the original location, and then I stopped and looked at the pictures on the back of the camera, and I kind of liked them. So although I'm not going to stay in this exact location, I think I'm going to move to another spot but continue to do this same sort of thing. Now I've relocated to another spot in Collegedale / Ooltewah. I never can figure out which one's which. They're both kind of the same zip code and the same place. But anyway, I'm at Wolfteaver Creek now, which is a creek where I go all the time with the boat, but that's way downstream from here. Right here it's just a small creek, but there's a nice concrete walking path. I would call this the Wolfteaver Creek Greenway, but I'm not sure what it's actually called. And I made a photograph still using the Acros film simulation with the X-T3 of this beautiful bench that it looks like it's made out of antique wagon wheels with a more modernly constructed bench to sit on top of it. But anyway, it's a beautiful picture. I don't think this pine tree's in the shot right now, but I do have the pine tree in the shot that I made of the bench. So I don't know, something about black and white, it really can make a kind of boring looking picture seem more interesting. So see what you think. If you've been around the channel very long, you know I like to take photographs of the bottom areas of mature trees, and there's yet another one. But I really like this bench and the antique looking wagon wheels that are attached to it. This is looking out at a pond that's in this little park. I like everything about the shot, except I'm not really fond of the rocky hill behind the bench. But pretend I didn't say that and just look at the bench and tree and everything will be fine. So here's a little pond, which I think they're calling Crook's Nest. And that bench that I took a picture of just a moment ago is just right over there. And on the back side of the pond is Wolfteaver Creek, which goes back and forth that way. But this pond is a nice feature of this little park And I made a photograph, still black and white, of the trees reflecting on the water. It's mostly the water in the picture. I don't have any polarizer on or anything, so there's plenty of reflection. And even though it does have some sky in the picture, which usually I try to avoid, in black and white it doesn't seem to be so distracting. I'm kind of enjoying this whole black and white experiment today. So this one, I probably like the looks of it better on the back of the camera than full screen here at home on the computer. I mean, I still like the photograph, and I really like the reflections and how you can kind of see through the water and yet also see the reflection of all the trees. But when I looked at it on the back of the camera, I thought it was going to be amazing, and instead it's just kind of okay. It's a really beautiful walking path. While I was down by the duck pond, I switched to the 55-200 and made some photographs of the ducks and geese that they've got around that pond. So that was kind of fun. And then when I came back over in this area, there were some beautiful, I guess, black-eyed Susans growing on the side of the creek, which the creek's right there. And while I had the 55-200 on, I made a few photos of those. Now, normally I would be doing color photographs of a beautiful yellow black-eyed Susan, but I do like the way the black and white images came out. Before we get to the flowers, I'll start out with the duck photographs, and these ducks are so cute. They stay right together and swim all around that pond, but you never see this particular set of ducks apart, and I thought they were really beautiful the way the water turned out dark and they are so bright. And here is another type of duck. This one hangs around by itself, and I caught it as it was walking across the sidewalk. Beautiful sparkly eye on this duck, and I was happy to get this photograph. And then this duck, I'm not sure if this is a duck or a goose, but I'm pretty sure it's a duck of some sort, and it had really beautiful eyes, and I got way down low and finally got this photograph of it. So this is the creek itself. I haven't made any photographs of the creek. I mean, it's pretty, but it's not photography pretty. I may be able to find a spot later, but so far I haven't made any photographs of the creek, but I wanted to make a clip and show it to you while I was right here at it. And but in the foreground over here on your right, my left, you can see some of the black-eyed Susans growing wild along the creek, and I did make photos of those. So I'll show those to you now. So I'm not 100% sure what type of flower this is. I just called it a black-eyed Susan because of the colors and the dark center. But I do think they're beautiful, and I really enjoy making photographs of them. Now, this next flower was also yellow, but I don't think it's the same variety of flower as the last one. And I love the way I was able to get this shot using the 200mm lens with it in focus and the gently out of focus flowers in the background. While I was out hiking around, I came across two really nice flower beds full of zinnias and maybe Mexican sunflowers. One right here and the other's just beside that park bench. So I put the 55-200 back on and attempted to make some butterfly, moth, and flower photos. All right, so here is a moth photo, and there was a time when I knew what kind of moth this was, but I really don't know right now, so I'm not going to take a guess, but it looks like a fighter plane, I think, and it's really beautiful on this flower. And this next moth is apparently a different kind, but I thought it was super cute, and it almost looks like it's wearing a smile on the bottom of its head, so I enjoyed this shot quite a bit. And this next shot, I thought it was maybe the most artistically pleasing photograph of the entire video. I love the juxtaposition of these two flowers with the near flower in focus and the far flower beautifully out of focus. And this is a butterfly. I do know what type it is. This is a Gulf fritillary, and they're brightly orange in color, and I like making color photographs of them, and it turns out they look good black and white as well. There's also a beautiful Veterans Memorial here, which has helicopters and jets and tanks and all sorts of statues and things memorializing the United States military. And there's an example, you can see the flags that go all the way around. There's an example of all 50 states flags, so that's really cool. Starting to get really hot. It's getting a little later in the day. I've been out here for a pretty good while, so I think I'm going to go ahead and shut it on down and go home and work on these pictures and see how they came out. Surely at least one of them will work for tonight's live stream. And I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye. from Collegedale / Ooltewah 37363, Tennessee.